So in the current landscape that we're in, people are more focused on how much money they can make and the dollar amount rather than doing something that they actually enjoy doing and then just finding success in that thing. If you look back in time, and when I say back in time, I'm talking about like 20, 30 years ago, you have these people who would enter, let's just say, the job market, and they'd go on to be executives in that job market. And yes, a slight reason was because of that financial incentive, but majority of it was because they genuinely liked waking up every single day to do the thing. Because when you actually like the thing that you're doing, the likelihood of you spending time studying your craft to become better becomes significantly higher. And as you study your craft, you become more skilled, and then you become more valuable to the marketplace. All of that has changed because you see people getting rich in all these different things, especially on social media, where you are now trying to chase the dollar amount. You're trying to do dropshipping because you've seen people who are rich doing dropshipping. You're trying to do this because you see people who are rich doing this, rather than what can I actually get good at, and then how can I maximize my profitability from that thing. Like, that's a fundamental principle that I think we've missed in this new generation, truly. Because now in this landscape where you can get rich doing anything, you should be asking yourself, okay, what would I actually enjoy doing because I know I'm gonna get rich doing it? Like, shifting that perspective, it's genuinely allowed me to do something that I enjoy doing, which is Airbnb. So you have to ask yourself that question. Now that you know, okay, everything that I do, almost every business right now can make me rich, because almost any business can make you rich, unless you're trying to get to like 100 million or $1 billion, which I assume that at the level you are, you're not even looking at that as of right now. I'm not saying don't have aspirations, but almost any business can get you to $100 million. Almost anything can get you there. So you should be asking yourself, what thing am I willing to do and become a master at? So the reason why I chose Airbnb is because I realized once I started understanding how Airbnb actually works is that, so two things. Number one is I have a product, a house, that I can market, and I have no other type of business model that competes with that. So let me give you an example. So two things. One is that when you look at Airbnb's model as itself, and when I say Airbnb, I really just mean the short-term rental model, because Airbnb isn't a model, it's a means of distribution. That's another conversation. If you want to watch a video about how I break down what Airbnb really is at its fundamental core, click the link below and you can watch the video on why people fail in Airbnb in 2025 and how to actually fundamentally change how you think about Airbnb. Okay, so that's another video. But when I looked at the short-term rental market and what it was, it's still growing because it's not a model that's been around for a very long time. But what it is essentially is an evolution from hotels, and hotels is already a proven concept. So when I realized that it's basically like a hotel business, but it's a privatized hotel business, that started ringing in my ear as something that genuinely does have a lot of potential. So think Amazon and think Uber. So it's basically hotel meets arbitrage. You don't really own anything, you just have a product listing, and then there's traffic going through that listing, and you have a hint of real estate in there as well. So it just made it almost the perfect bulletproof business, because people will always need a place to stay. And for the last 100 years, it's been hotels. But the fundamental flaw with hotels is that you can only book rooms at a time. So when you have bigger groups, and in the economy, in the world that we're in right now, you have more people looking to travel together. It's not just one or two people, but it's entire families, it's entire groups. So the world is adapting to become more group oriented, meaning that people tend to travel together more, especially now because it's so easy to get to anywhere in the world. You can get anywhere in the world in just a couple of hours. So hotels have grown significantly because they've understood that. But where they lack is that they don't have a product that can fit 10, 15 people, sometimes even 6 people. People usually have to book separate rooms to be able to, if they want to travel together. Like, imagine you're traveling with your friends, you want to kind of stay together. Hotels haven't been able to solve this problem because they can't solve this problem. They have rooms. And that's why Airbnb and the short-term rental system as a whole grew so significantly. Okay, so that was number one. Number two, specifically with arbitrage, is that once that door and that Pandora's box opened and people wanted to experience what this new wave of vacation rentals was for themselves by staying in these houses, what opened up was a market demand, but there was no supply, because most people thought that you had to buy a house first before you put an Airbnb, and that stopped a lot of people. And that's where arbitrage kind of came in, where you can kind of rent a house, so you don't even have to own the product, right? And then people can book your home or book your product or pay for your product without you needing to having to buy it or own it. think something like Uber or Amazon, where none of them actually own any product. And a business like Airbnb, they don't actually own anything. They're just a simply means of distribution. And when you do something like what I do, which is arbitrage, you don't actually own anything, but you control a means of distribution. So that was the second reason why it just genuinely made a lot more sense to me. And the third, and I think this is probably one of the things that actually got me over, was Airbnb is genuinely one of the only business models that I know of, and if you know another one, please feel free to, we can have this debate, that you can get paid while learning a skill set and then make even more money once you're even better at that skill set. So the reason I kind of went away from something like dropshipping is because of how much money I would have to spend on ads. Right? I'd have to spend money on ads, I'd have to buy the product, things like that. And I could do all of those things and still not make any money, but I now have all this inventory and I have to spend more money on ads. Something like Faces YouTube, Faces TikTok, Faces Instagram, you're spending a lot of time learning a skill set, And what is the likelihood that you're actually gonna make money from it? First of all, extremely low. Secondly, while you're learning it, you're actively making no money. And that was why I kind of stayed away from all of those things. Where Airbnb is a little bit different. Yes, you still have to learn 100%, don't get me wrong. But the fundamental model of Airbnb, especially as it's now grown to a point where we've reached, I think this is like what I want to call like the golden era of Airbnb, is that it's been around long enough where people kind of know what they're doing, and it's still so new, there's still so much growth that can happen in the next 5 to 10 years. So let me explain. When I say that it's old enough where people kind of know what they're doing, and you already kind of know like what makes a good Airbnb, and you can find listings that are already very, very profitable and very successful in Airbnb, okay? And all you have to do is put a listing or put your house right beside a listing that's already performing. If a house is 4 bedrooms and it has these amenities, which you can see in the pictures, and it's performing and it's making $80, $90, $120,000 per year, let's just say, and you can see this house, you can look at the listing, you can see it on the map, see where it is, and then you get a house, you negotiate rent a block away from the house, and the house looks very similar to the house that's already performing, and you put all the exact same amenities, you're gonna make an amount that's very close, of course there's standards of deviations, to that first house. So you don't even need to be a genius to do this. And that's that kind of loophole where Airbnb is still grown significantly, but there's still so much room to grow, and that's why I call it this golden era, is because you can still do that and can still significantly right now profit from that system. Finding a house that performs, finding out exactly why they perform, and then putting a listing right beside it, and it could be identical to that one, and you're gonna get booked. You're almost gonna be guaranteed to make exactly the same amount as this unit. So that's why I chose Airbnb. And now the best part of this entire thing is that number one, I'm not spending any money on ads. And number two is that I get booked in advance. So I have a product that will get booked into the future. So if I have a house today and I put it on Airbnb, and this house, one of my houses that makes me $9,000 a month. Every single month, I make $9,000 from that house. Now let's say I have a 30% profit margin. That's $2,700 a month, almost $3,000 a month I'm making every single month from that house. Get 10 of these houses, now you're making 30 grand a month. Get 20 of these houses. Let's say you do that, and let's say it takes about $10,000, $15,000 to furnish it. Every 3 to 4 months, you can get a new house. So that's three houses that you can get within a year. And not only do you have that, so now you're making $9,000 in profit every single month. Now, you can essentially get a new house every single month from the profit that you're making. So that's just back of the napkin math. And I don't want to get too much into the details. Now, the biggest reason why I chose Airbnb, and this is what took me over the edge, was the fact that I get booked in advance. What that means is that if I have a house right now, I can get a reservation for 3 months from now. So if right now we're in October, I can get a reservation, which I just did, for January, February, and March, and I know exactly what my revenue is gonna be for those months. So I can actually start calculating exactly how much I'm gonna make in the future. I know I can see in the future how much money I'm gonna make, because the likelihood of your house getting canceled is very, very low. I wanna say like 1 or 2%. So once you get that reservation, when that time comes, you're getting paid. I'm putting out my phone right now to show that this is a reservation that came in earlier today. This is for, right now we're in October 18th at the time of this video. This reservation is for February 22nd. And in February 22nd, I don't know if this is zoomed in, I'll probably crop it out if anything, just so you can see. For a 9-day reservation, the guest is paying $6,871.55. So in February of the 22nd, I am going to be making $6,871.55. And I'm in, right now it's October. So, and I have 10, 15, 20 more of these houses. Now imagine that you have 5 houses. You can now have all that revenue coming in into the future. So you enter a month knowing exactly how much you're gonna make, rather than all of these other business models where you enter a month, you have no idea what's gonna happen that month. You could have the biggest month of your life, you could have the lowest month of your life. You have no idea what's gonna happen as you enter the month. I go into every month because I'm already booked entering the month because people booked in the future. I'm going into February knowing that I'm making minimum $6,000 from one house. Minimum. I already know that today. That's why I chose Airbnb in 2025. I'm gonna choose it in 2026 and 2027 until, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna choose it until it makes no more sense. But right now, with the way it's growing and the way it's going, it's gonna make even more sense moving forward. And this is what I've been able to use in my business to grow my business in just 2.5 years to over $100,000 a month. This exact same system. And it works. Not only does it work, it's gonna continue to work, and I'm gonna continue to use it until it breaks. So that is why in 2026, I'm gonna be choosing Airbnb. And out of all the business models in the world that you can make money in and you can get rich in, I chose Airbnb because of all those reasons that I just mentioned, because I have the most certainty and because it gives me the most certainty as I enter every month, knowing exactly what my revenue and what my income will be for that month. I hope you found this video valuable. I'm not your e-com guy, I'm not your drop shipping guy, I'm not your AI automations guy. I come from a different perspective where we still use and have real estate money, if you will, but now I run a private hotel business. Coupled with that, I don't have to own any real estate, so I don't really need to own anything. I can maneuver and run my business from anywhere in the world. And if I have a place where I want to stay, or I have a city or a country that I really like traveling to, I can now get an Airbnb there. And that's another bonus. I can now get an Airbnb in a place that I like staying at, whether that's Colombia, whether that's somewhere in the United States, whether that's somewhere in Canada, whether that's somewhere in Asia, and I could set up the infrastructure there and have 1, 2, even 3. And anytime I go there, I have a place to stay. So there's so many different benefits that comes from having this skill set and having this business that it's the reason why I'm gonna choose it every single year, because it simply makes sense, it makes money, and because I love traveling and I have somewhere to stay whenever I travel to a different city. So that is my reason. I don't mean to sell you on it. Everybody has their own specific reasons why they do anything, but that's been my specific reason. I hope you find this valuable. Another thing is that I actually created a Skool community for people who are interested in learning about Airbnb. If you're an e-com guy, you're not interested in Airbnb, then this is not for you, but thank you for sticking around and learning another business model. I also think this is the best one, but I'm biased. But I built a Skool community, and in this Skool community, what we do is we go over different strategies on Airbnb and how to maximize profits. And it's really just people who are very similar mindset, very similar drive, very similar hunger, who want to learn and build a business in 2025 and in 2026 and enter 2026 with the right system, infrastructures, and foundations. So that's what this community is for. It's on Skool. If you're interested, click the link below. Free community. We have calls once a week or twice a week, so you'll be able to ask questions as much as you'd like. But yeah, so I hope you find this video valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.